Hello YouTube, this is an alcohol review of Monkey Shoulder, the original. According to the label, this is blended malt Scotch whiskey, rooted in malt whiskey history and inspired by the malt men who still turn the malting barley by hand. Monkey Shoulder is blended in small batches of Speyside's finest single malt whiskeys, then married to achieve a smoother, richer taste. Batch 27. 43% alcohol by volume. 750ml bottle. Malt man skill demonstrates. What does this say here? I thought this was a government thing here, but no, it's not. A malt man's skill is demonstrated as he turns the malted barley by hand years ago. Some malt men would develop a strain injury known as monkey shoulder, which would cause the shoulder to hang down, much like a monkey's shoulder. Thankfully, the condition no longer exists. Here, and I had to go to the website to find that out. It's sitting right on the bottle. The back doesn't really pertain to much of anything other than it has tasting notes, which is taste of mellow vanilla with spicy hints, the nose zesty orange, vanilla honey, and spiced oak. There we go. I do like the packaging. The emblazonment on the bottle, and the bottle being pretty much plain except for this nice little emblazonment, and the label being an off yellow and antiqued look, as it were, plus the shadow, or also known as a thumbprint, on the label itself, always catches my eye, and I've been curious about this particular Scotch since I've seen the bottle. Excuse me. Back in the day, some of you may or may not know, I cut my teeth in marketing and advertising, and this was part of my thing, was coming up with ideas like this. So, history. So, the label, not so much the label, the cork itself is a wood top emblazoned with their logo. The cork itself, love that sound, is ground up cork that's been glued together. Some of you may wonder why that, if you've ever saw that. And it is because some years ago, there was a weevil or some other disease attacked the cork trees. And they never really seemed to have recovered from that. So plastics and grinding up the cork and compressing them together with glues, all these different techniques have been used through the years to get around the fact that the surviving cork trees means there's a smaller supply with equal demand creates higher price. So it's just a technique on trying to find a cheaper way of corks. Now, what do we have? We have a very nice honey brown with heavy yellow influence on it. It looks rather dark from what I can tell on the screen, which I assume is what you guys are seeing. Looks like a nice honey gold. But on this side of the camera, there's more yellows involved rather than that honey gold. Give it a swirl. I smell vanilla, I smell lemon, and I smell spice. Hints of smokiness. They're orange, I'm not getting. Zesty orange, vanilla honey, spiced oak. Well, I'll go with the vanilla honey and the spiced oak, but I ain't getting no orange. Not at all. Though you can smell part of the peatiness of the Scotch, buried way, way, way down at the bottom. This happens to be take 2 and a take 1, I was sniffing this pretty well. I got no peat out of it till now. Almost missed it. Got to do a swirl here. Swirl, 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 swirl. Now, like I said, this is take 2, so I'll try not to, too many spoilers. I'm going to call it spoilers, but there is very little tearing up on the side of my glass when I do one of these swirls. What this means is that it's either so thick it cakes the side of the glass and it holds. That means there's a high sugar content, and it means it's a thicker mouthfeel. Think syrup. Now, it's not going to be to the level of syrup, but it's syrup-y, syrup-ish, syrup-like, whatever you want to call it. It's thicker than, say, water. Now, the other end, to view this exact same scenario, half full, half empty sort of thing, is that it is so watery, there's so little sugar, that it just runs right down, right off. And that's why there's not a whole lot sticking on the side of the glass, causing very little tearing or legging or whatever you want to call it. That means almost zero sweetness, zero sugar into the thing, or a very low level sugar, that it runs down like water. So either this is really thick or it is really thin on the palate. I've already tried it. It's really thin. I was surprised. Surprise! It is very thin, very light on the palate. Who would have known? Oh yes, take 2. The taste is vanilla, bits of lemon, spiciness to it, and a bit of smokiness all throughout. Very nice. But you get a lot of that, what is that called? It's not the malt, it's not the barley. To me, it tastes like, this is going to sound terrible. To me, it tastes like grass clippings. And there's an actual name for it. Dang nabbit, I cannot think of it right now. But it's what Scotch is, in my end of the world, what Scotch is known for. It's, I want to call it malty, but that's not it. But it's an underlying flavor of the Scotch itself. It's what makes, besides being made in Scotland, it's what makes Scotch taste like Scotch versus a bourbon, versus an Irish whiskey, versus a Canadian whiskey. It's its primary trait. And it comes through very strong. So you know you are drinking a Scotch. And usually that is it's not malting. Dang nabbit, man. Anyway, usually that's a large turnoff. It's one of the reasons why I'm not a Scotch fan. But it's not that bad. I mean, it's there and it's strong, as I would expect it to be in a Scotch. But for some odd reason, the flavors are all blending well together. It's not offensive. Now, I was hesitant. Like I said, I was interested in the bottle wasn't because of the packaging. But I was hesitant to try this after I went on to the website trying to figure out what a monkey shoulder is. And the reason why is that there is a lot of recipes on the website for cocktails. I'm like, oh man, I prefer a nice sipper because of fewer calories. Have a nice little glass of it, it lasts longer. Have a pipe with it or a cigar, and it all kind of blends well together. Do I really need to find a cola or several different fruit juices or whatever it is to make a glass out of it, and then it's too sweet or it's too sour, it's kind of just take it from the bottle, drop it in an ice cube if I want or not, and just sip it slowly throughout the evening. If there's a lot of cocktail recipes, it means it's a lousy sipper. Please blend this with something else that tastes good and we'll just kick you in the teeth with the alcohol. That's what I normally find when it comes to scotches and whiskeys and bourbons and whatnot that have a lot of cocktail recipes on their website. This has a lot of cocktail recipes on its website. It's not bad as a sipper. To be quite honest, it is not bad at all. Now, you want to say, oh, it's quite good. It's a Scotch. I'm sorry. When it has that, I strained it through yard clippings flavor as a dominant flavor. That kind of puts an end on it for me right there. But that's only because I am not a Scotch fan. If you are a Scotch fan, you really might like this. If you're like the sweetness of a rum, like I do, strong flavors of a nice dark rum, this might be too far out of your wheelhouse to try. But don't let that discourage you. If you get the chance, always stretch out your wings. Give it a try. Love it or hate it, at least you can say you tried. Give it a try. It's worth, as some would say, it's worth the cost of admission. And that's what this stuff is. It's worth the price of admission. I am surprised that it is a nice sipper. I honestly thought it would be garbage on that part, and I was wrong. So, it is a nice sipping Scotch for those of us who are on the line of whether or not we like Scotches or not. But that's only my opinion. And I'm just some fool on the internet. Monkey Shoulder. Any comments about this down below? We warmly accept it, as always. Or better yet, go out, buy it, try it yourself, and do a review so the rest of us in the YouTube spirits community can know your thoughts on this product, Monkey Shoulder, and see what you have to say. And until next time, peat. That's what it is. That grass clipping flavor. It's peat. It's peat moss. It's part of the distillation where they pull out a lot of contaminants. They use peat moss in it. And that invokes a lot of flavor into it. I knew I was going to figure it out sooner or later. It's the peaty taste that comes out. And that's what makes Scotch Scotch versus an Irish versus a Canadian versus an American. There you go. Cut it in the very end. But yes, yeah. If you like it, try it. Great. If you don't, whatever, try it anyway just to see. Until next time, keep on drinking.